Your kitchen should be a place of ease and joy, a space where cooking feels effortless and everything is within reach. But let's be honest, sometimes our kitchens seem to work against us. Cluttered cabinets, hard-to-reach shelves, and mystery items in the fridge. Sound familiar? If you've ever struggled to find what you need or felt frustrated by your kitchen setup, you're not alone. Today, we're tackling the 10 biggest kitchen organization fails for seniors over 70, and most importantly, how to fix them. 1. Hard-to-reach items. How many times have you found yourself stretching, straining, or even climbing onto a chair just to grab something from a high cabinet? We've all done it. Maybe it's that one special serving dish you only use on holidays, or a spice jar that somehow ended up at the very back of the top shelf. But let's be honest, those upper shelves, they're not our friends anymore. And the last thing any of us needs is a dangerous fall just because we wanted to make a cup of tea. Instead of playing a game of kitchen gymnastics, let's work smarter. The best solution: bring everything you use daily down to eye level. Installing pull-down shelves is a game changer. Just one gentle pull, and suddenly, your kitchen essentials are right where you need them. Lazy Susans are another small but mighty fix. A quick spin, and voila! No more blindly reaching into the depths of your cabinet, hoping to grab the right spice. For those upper shelves that are just out of reach, think of them as storage for things you rarely use. Holiday platters, extra storage containers, or that fancy tea set you bring out when guests visit. And if you do need to get something from up there, a sturdy grabber tool can save you from unnecessary strain. A simple rearrangement like this can make a world of difference. No more stretching, no more struggling, just a kitchen that works for you instead of against you. 2. Cluttered countertops. Imagine walking into your kitchen, ready to make a simple meal, but before you can even start chopping an onion, you're battling for space. There's a pile of mail next to the coffee maker, an old recipe book open from 3 weeks ago, and somehow 3 different canisters of sugar have taken up half the counter. Sound familiar? A cluttered counter isn't just an eyesore, it can actually make cooking more stressful and even dangerous. The more items you have on your surfaces, the more likely you are to knock something over, spill hot liquids, or create unnecessary messes. And let's be honest, nobody wants to start cooking by clearing a path first. The fix? Get ruthless with what stays on your countertops. Ask yourself, do you really need that toaster out if you only use it twice a month? Is that pile of receipts and mail serving a purpose, or is it just in the way? Keep only the essentials within arm's reach, things like your coffee maker, a cutting board, and the cooking tools you use daily. For everything else, find a designated space. Wall-mounted racks or magnetic knife strips can free up valuable counter space while keeping items accessible. Under-cabinet storage is another great option for keeping things organized without cluttering your surfaces. A clean, open countertop instantly makes your kitchen feel calmer, more efficient, and far more inviting, because cooking should be enjoyable, not a battle against clutter. 3. Heavy pots and pans stored low. There's nothing quite like the struggle of bending down, pulling out a heavy pot, and hoisting it up, only to realize it's the wrong one, and you have to do it all over again. If you've ever winced while trying to lift a cast iron skillet from the bottom cabinet, you know exactly what I mean. And let's not even talk about the times when pots and lids go crashing down like a kitchen avalanche. Storing heavy cookware on lower shelves may have worked when we were younger, but now it's an invitation for back pain, or worse, an accidental fall. The last thing any of us need is to throw out our back over a pot of soup. Instead, bring your most used pots and pans up to waist level. A pull-out shelf can be a lifesaver, letting you slide out your cookware instead of bending and digging through a crowded cabinet. Hanging racks are another great option. They keep everything visible, easy to grab, and add a charming touch to your kitchen. If lifting is becoming a challenge, consider swapping out heavy cast iron for lighter, more manageable alternatives. Many modern non-stick pans are designed to be much easier on the hands without sacrificing quality. The goal is simple: Make your kitchen work for you, not against you, and that means no more wrestling with heavy cookware every time you want to make a meal. 4. Mystery items in the fridge. You open the fridge and there it is, a mystery container tucked away in the back. You pick it up, give it a slight shake, and suddenly, you're questioning all your life choices. What is it? When did you put it there? And do you dare open it to find out? A cluttered fridge is more than just an inconvenience. It leads to wasted food, expired leftovers, and a whole lot of frustration. Not to mention, when your fridge is overstuffed and disorganized, it's easy to forget what you actually have, which means you might end up buying things you don't need while perfectly good food sits forgotten. The solution? Clear bins and labels. Simple, but so effective. Using transparent bins lets you see exactly what you have, so there are no more surprise science experiments lurking in the back of the fridge. Labeling your leftovers and condiments with a date ensures nothing sits around too long. And organizing similar items together, like dairy in one section, vegetables in another, keeps everything easy to find. Another great trick: create a use me first bin. This is where you put anything that needs to be eaten soon. Leftovers, open yogurt containers, or produce that's on the verge of going bad. When you go to grab a snack or make a meal, check this bin first and use what's inside. It's a simple change that saves time, money, and helps cut down on waste. Because let's face it, nobody wants to play guess the expiration date ever again. 5. The overloaded junk drawer. Let's talk about that one drawer in your kitchen, the catch-all space that seems to hold everything and nothing at the same time. You know the one. You open it, hoping to find a pair of scissors, and instead, you're greeted by a tangled mess of rubber bands, old receipts, half-used birthday candles, and a few random batteries rolling around. And somehow, there's always a handful of keys you don't recognize, but are too afraid to throw away. At first, it seems harmless. After all, everyone has a junk drawer, right? But the problem starts when that drawer becomes a black hole for things you actually need. That measuring spoon you swore you had? Lost in the abyss. The bottle opener? Nowhere to be found when you have guests over. It's not just clutter, it's inconvenience, frustration, and wasted time. But here's the good news: fixing this takes less effort than you think. The first step: empty it out completely. Take everything out and spread it on the counter. You might be surprised by how much has been hiding in there. Now, take a deep breath and start sorting. Anything broken, outdated, or that hasn't been used in over a year, let it go. Be ruthless. Once you're left with only the essentials, group similar items together. Kitchen tools in one spot, office supplies in another, and those truly useful odds and ends in their own category. Now, it's time to bring in a little structure. Small trays, drawer dividers, even repurposed old jewelry boxes can work wonders in keeping things visible and organized. The goal isn't just to tidy up, it's to make sure that next time you need something, you can find it instantly. No more digging, no more frustration, just a kitchen that works for you, not against you. 6. Unsafe storage for knives and sharp tools. Imagine this: you're cooking dinner, reaching into your utensil drawer for a spoon, and suddenly, ouch, your fingers brush against the sharp edge of a knife. That moment of panic, that instant of realizing how close you just came to a nasty cut, it's a reminder that sharp tools should never be left loose in a cluttered drawer. It's easy to underestimate the danger of improper knife storage. After all, they're just sitting there, right? But when knives are tossed into a drawer alongside spatulas, ladles, and can openers, they don't stay put. They slide around every time the drawer is opened or closed, turning what should be a simple grab and go into a risky game of chance. And let's be honest, no one should have to feel nervous just reaching for their cooking tools. A safer kitchen starts with designated storage. If you have the counter space, a sturdy knife block is a fantastic option. It keeps knives accessible, neatly organized, and most importantly, out of harm's way. But if you're short on counter space, or prefer a sleeker look, a magnetic strip on the wall is a great alternative. Not only does it keep your knives secure, but it also frees up drawer space and makes grabbing the right tool effortless. If drawer storage is your only option, it's time for an upgrade. A knife organizer insert transforms a dangerous jumble of blades into a safe, structured system where each knife has its place. No more rummaging, no more accidental nicks, just a well-organized kitchen where everything is exactly where it should be. A few small changes, and suddenly cooking becomes easier, safer, and more enjoyable. 7. Under-sink chaos. The space under the kitchen sink, where good intentions go to die. At first it started as a neat little storage spot for a few cleaning supplies, but over time it becomes a dark, jumbled mess of spray bottles, half-empty dish soap containers, mystery sponges, and a tangle of plastic grocery bags you meant to reuse. And let's not even talk about those old leaky bottles that somehow keep finding their way to the back, forgotten until the day you accidentally knock one over. Beyond the clutter, there's a real safety concern here. When cleaning products are scattered without order, you run the risk of mixing chemicals you shouldn't, spilling something hazardous, or just losing track of what you actually have. No one needs to waste time searching for the right bottle of cleaner while water drips from the faucet above. It's time to reclaim this space and turn it into something that actually works for you. Start by emptying everything out. Yes, everything. Check expiration dates, toss anything that's leaking or unrecognizable, and set aside products you no longer use. Then bring in some smart storage solutions. Pull-out shelves or stackable bins make a world of difference, keeping everything visible and accessible instead of crammed into dark corners. A lazy Susan is another game changer. Just spin it around to grab what you need without shuffling through bottles. And the final step, label everything. This is especially important for spray bottles or homemade cleaners. When everything is clearly marked, there's no risk of confusing glass cleaner with disinfectant or mixing something dangerous by mistake. A little organization turns this space from a cluttered, forgotten mess into a well-ordered station where everything has its place. No more digging, no more mystery bottles, just a clean, functional area that makes kitchen life easier. 8. Too many plastic containers with missing lids. There are few things more frustrating in the kitchen than the dreaded Tupperware avalanche. That moment when you open a cabinet and plastic containers come crashing down like an unorganized waterfall. Lids without bottoms, bottoms without lids, and stacks of mismatched sizes that never seem to fit together. If you've ever spent more time searching for a matching set than actually putting away leftovers, you know exactly how chaotic this situation can get. The truth is, most of us have way more plastic containers than we actually need. Some come from takeout, some are leftovers from old sets, and somehow they all multiply when we're not looking. But too many containers, especially when they don't stack neatly, turns what should be a simple task into an unnecessary headache. The first step to fixing this mess is paring down. Match every lid to a container and be ruthless. Anything that doesn't have a pair goes. If a lid is warped, cracked, or missing altogether, it's time to let it go. Once you're left with a proper set, choose a stacking system that maximizes space. Storing lids upright in a small bin or rack makes it easier to find the one you need instead of digging through a chaotic pile. And here's something worth considering: switching to glass containers. Not only do they last longer, but they also make it easier to see what's inside without having to pop the lid off. No more mystery leftovers or forgotten meals hiding in the back of the fridge. A simple, intentional system keeps your kitchen organized and makes meal prep and cleanup a whole lot smoother. 9. Hard to read labels and recipes. Cooking should be a joy, not a guessing game. But when you find yourself squinting at tiny print on spice jars, struggling to read a faded recipe card, or holding a can under the brightest light just to see what's inside, it can turn into more of a challenge than it should be. It's frustrating, isn't it? You shouldn't have to work this hard just to figure out what you're cooking with. One of the simplest ways to make life easier in the kitchen is to take control of the labels. If the print on spice jars and pantry items is too small, replace them with large print labels that you can read at a glance. You don't need fancy store-bought ones. Handwritten labels with a bold marker work just as well. For an even simpler fix, keeping a magnifying glass or a dedicated pair of reading glasses in the kitchen can save you time and hassle. And then there are the beloved family recipes, those handwritten treasures passed down over the years. If you find yourself struggling to make out the writing, don't let it stop you from enjoying them. Rewrite them in larger, clearer handwriting, or type them up and print them out. Even better, laminate them or store them in a binder to keep them protected and easy to read. Cooking should feel effortless, and a few small adjustments can make all the difference. 10. Lack of a go-to cooking zone. A disorganized kitchen forces you to move back and forth while cooking, making meal prep more exhausting than it needs to be. Designate a go-to cooking station, a small section of your counter with all your everyday essentials, cutting board, salt and pepper, utensils and oils. Keeping everything in one place reduces unnecessary movement and makes cooking more enjoyable. Your kitchen should work for you, not against you. By making a few simple changes, you'll transform your space into a haven of ease and efficiency. Which of these fixes are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing your ideas. Happy organizing!